Well, we're back again now after all those lovely holiday proposals that we heard of this morning. Feel like going off myself. I hope the weather will be beautiful for anyone who is heading off. But, you know, when we're going on holidays, we have to take other things into consideration. And for a lot of us, we head towards the water, whether it's for swimming, boating, fishing, walking. And it's very important that we know the rules of safety for the water. And I know we have touched on it in our programme on the long weekend following that awful tragedy in Killaloe. Patricia Ann and Tom did a feature with Rosie Foley on water safety. But this morning I'm delighted to have Clare McGrath, who's the Water Safety Officer with Clare County Council. Good morning, Clare.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
We're delighted to have you here. Tell us about, number one, the job you do, and number two, the wonderful prevention that you have because of the work you do.
I suppose the job, I'm an employee of Clare County Council and I work in the environment section, and my main duties relate to the beaches in general, be they on the east coast of Clare along the riverways and waterways, or along the coast with the sea and the ocean, and some piers as well. My main job, particularly in the summertime, is in relation to the lifeguards, and I would be the line manager for 45 approximately lifeguards that would be on our beaches over the summer. We lifeguard 12 waterways in County Clare. This year we have 8 blue flags and 3 green coast flags, and we all those have to be lifeguarded during the summer months. So that's my main core during the summer months. In the winter time and in the spring and autumn, then we'd also do safety education and safety awareness with schools, and safety education and awareness like this radios and other promotions, and would also be dealing with the ring boys. So many of you will have seen the ring boys at the bathing areas. In the yellow box with the red ring buoy on the inside. So part of my duties would be ensuring that they're all in good nick and that the ropes are all there and nobody has stolen them for the bale of hay or anything else like that might happen from time to time.
Or for a bit of crack.
For a bit of crack. And, you know, sometimes you can see them thrown in the river, and which is a very sad thing to do.
Yes.
You throw them in after the pub or whatever, which is really irresponsible. However, yes, that's part of my duties as well. But for the most part in the summer months, most of my work is in relation to safety on the beaches and in the waterways where we have our holiday makers, like you say.
Yeah. Now, what are the main rules of safety on beaches or on the waterways, wherever?
Well, like you mentioned there in your introduction, you're heading on your holidays. So from a family point of view, you have to start first and be summer ready. You have to pull out the surfboards or the canoes or the items that you're planning to bring with you and check that they're in good working order. Check that they haven't got damaged over the winter and that they still have their proper leashes, don't have holes, and that you have your life jackets for the boats. If you are taking your little boat in the water, or you must make sure you have all the proper equipment for it, and do your summer check your surfboards in order, check your wetsuits in order, check that all your other gears are in order before you pack them into the car in the first place. So that would be my starting point. I would also say then, when you've chosen your venue or your location for your holiday, to make sure that it's a lifeguarded location, because it's the best place for you to bring your family is to one of our lifeguarded locations. And around our county we have plenty of really nice lifeguarded locations where you can have your holiday time and your children are in a safer environment.
Did I hear you say earlier when we were chatting beforehand, we have 12 lifeguarded
locations?
Yeah. And there's one in Mount Shannon?
There's one in Mount Shannon, and there's one in Ballycugger, and there at 2 Mile Gate, Killaloe.
Yeah.
As I said, there's a couple of names there.
Yeah, and back west and north
Clare, along from Kappa all the way up along as far as Ballybahan.
That's
along
terrific.
The coast.
Now, I have been reading a little bit about this, and apparently there are quite a number of drownings every year on average. But for the lifeguards and the work that you do, there would be a lot more. So they do very, very important work.
Absolutely very important work. Nationally, the lifeguards, in 2022, the statistics are the lifeguards rescued roughly 600 people from drowning during the summer months. That's at lifeguarded locations. They reunited several hundred children with their parents, thousands of first aids that were done. So the lifeguards do a very important job. And, you'd aim for them to give more advice and to stay out, not to have to go in the water, that they would give people advice in the safest place to swim and keep the community safe before they ever go in the water, which would be the better way to do it.
People who aren't used to water, Clare, they don't realise that a bucket full of water can cause
it's tragic
accident. So small children run into water. They really do have to be supervised, don't they?
That is one of the biggest pieces of advice I would give. Never take your eyes off your children when they're in or around water. Always supervise them. We have a lovely programme within Water Safety Ireland in relation to supervising children, and the preschool programme is Hold Hands. So preschool children they learn this through Water Safety Ireland and their preschool teachers. Hold hands in or around water. So and you must hold an adult hand.
Who brings this course to preschool?
The Department of Education and Water Safety Ireland have a partnership or are working together to bring this wonderful water safety programme to the preschool. So all the preschools received a pack with all these little kits for pictures and learning the way the little smallies learn, and little jigsaws and work that they can do, and it's called Hold Hands. So its main thing is for the small children to realise that when they're in or around water they must hold a hand.
Oh, that's a wonderful,
it's
just
a very
simple
good,
thing,
simple programme. Absolutely.
Now, maybe all the creches and preschools in our area have done that course. I simply don't know. But we have a text. Can we give out our text number there, Luke? It's 089 258 2647. If anybody wants any information about what Clare is talking about today, and you can give out numbers, as Clare, for them to contact as well at the end of the programme. So it's very important that we teach children from an early age to respect water. But of course there are some galoots like myself who make awful mistakes as well. We go out too far, don't we? We take chances, especially in the seaside. I think we think we're wonderful swimmers, and we go out beyond our depth and things like that, and we don't know the local currents or the local tides. So
yeah, when you pick your location, find out about the local currents and the local tides. But I mean, swimming is a wonderful sport and a wonderful pastime and a wonderful exercise. So for you, you're not a galoot, neither am I. But I would say to people who like to swim every day to swim in a safe location to bring your tow float if you're going on a longer swim, so you can be seen where the lifeguards can see you or where a boat can see you. To have your colourful hat and your tow float, and not to stay in the water too long. By the time you've gone a couple of kilometres and you want to turn around, you're exhausted. So don't stay in the water. Swim parallel to the shore.
But people don't think of that.
No.
Be seen. Have something that you can rely on to help you if you get into difficulty. Yeah. They don't think of that. They think
they've gotten better. I think I actually do think that a lot of the open water swimmers now have got very sensible. You see them. I see them a lot now. I was only in Ballycorgan this morning, and nearly everyone I saw went in had an orange tow float towed behind them. It serves several purposes. The boats can see them, the lifeguards can see them, the public can see them, and they can stop and hold on to it if they're tired. And I think it really is a commodity that everyone should bring with them if they're going in any kind of a distancey swim or out of their depth at all.
Good advice. Now, can we talk about swimming lessons?
Yes.
Yeah, they're in. We'll just talk about our area for the moment. We have them in Mount Shannon and Flagmount, and you have the dates, Clare.
I did. Yeah, I just got a message there now to say there's going to be 2 weeks in Mount Shannon, starting on the 17th of July, and the details will be, and if they're not up there already, they'll be shortly on clarewatersafety.com, and you'll be able to find out what time your classes are. So there's swimming classes, just regular swimming classes, more for the maybe 6, 7 or 8 year olds up to 10 or 12s, and then there would be water safety classes where you can do your survival and your safety and your rescue classes, which will be stepping stones to lifeguarding, which is really important that people do. It's great to have, from my point of view, to have local lifeguards. I really think it's wonderful when kids within the locality do their lifeguarding, keep going with their life saving, and end up doing their lifeguarding, and then you have local kids lifeguarding in local areas, which really, from the lifeguard supervisor point of view, is a very good thing, because they know the area, they know the location, they know what to expect,
and they know the water too.
They know the area exactly. So sorry, I got distracted. 2 weeks starting the 17th of July in Mount Shannon, and then the following week is in Flagmount. So that's the last week in July. Okay. So there'll be, and again, the details will be, if it's not up already, it'll be very up shortly on clarewatersafety.com.
That will be word of mouth anyway. A lot of that,
of course,
I was going to say, that lifeguard, or that not, the swimming lessons, they're going on since I was a kid. They're there for donkey's years. We all did them. It's wonderful.
It's
It
all
really-
voluntary. It's all voluntary.
Yeah.
Local people actually do them as far as possible. Some people come out from Ennis to do them, and they're starting with teaching the kids how to swim. They're in the Mount Shannon Little Bay, in Mount Shannon. It's a really suitable place because
It
it's
is.
safe.
Yeah.
And they've got some depth too for the more advanced classes that they want to do. So it really is a very suitable location for swimming lessons. And things have changed and come around, and they can now wear a wetsuit. So back in the day, I'm sure when you did it, you were for a reason. Get me out
frozen
of here.
solid.
Frozen solid, and you're fighting with your
Frozen
teacher
solid.
because you were too cold. But nowadays, and with the wetsuits being so cheap, I mean, you can buy them now in Duns. You don't have to buy it top of the
Aldi or
range.
any of those places.
Exactly,
There, yeah.
exactly.
No, I'm glad to say that we have been joined by a local man, Tom Botcher. Good morning, Tom. Thank you so much for coming in, Tom. I'm sure you're very busy because you run the Lakeside Holiday Park in Mount Shannon.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And you have a particular interest in water safety because a lot of your clients spend a lot of their time on the water.
They do.
Yeah.
Quite a considerable amount.
Yeah.
And the location lends itself to water sports. Mm-hmm. It's probably one of the best locations in the country. From a scenic aspect, and
Yeah.
with Holy Island in the background, climate change has created a much more sustainable environment for water sports. And I only heard the last few moments of what you were speaking about when I came about wetsuits and so forth. When
Yes.
I was a much younger man, wetsuits and a long clothesline and a couple of hangers over at the activity centre in Killaloo is what you would see when you were passing by, because nobody had their own wetsuits.
No.
And now everyone from their 3-year-old to their 17-year-old and mum and dad have their own wetsuit.
They
So
are.
it means that the environment that they are going to, use is much more comfortable.
Yes.
I hate cold water.
Inviting.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to talk about your concerns about safety in the water, Tom. When we were talking one day, you had a lot of concerns.
Well, I suppose I do. It depends which area you really want to focus on first.
Well, this is water safety and swimming, boating, whatever is water safety, but not the RNLI. They're
Okay.
coming in later to talk to us.
Okay, well, it's my jurisdiction to look after the people that I have on the park.
Yes. Mhm.
So I would keep an eye on the waterfront, and any of my staff members would too. Now, we recently had a visit from the NSA and the National, is it NS? Safety Authority. And they're considering the possibility, it's under consultation, of anywhere there's water activity, there may have to be a lifeguard present. Now,
Right.
that will change the dynamic of water sports in Ireland like nothing before.
But that's kind of an impossible number of lifeguards to provide.
Well, it is, but the thing about it is there's an awful lot of I suppose aspects to anything. Legislation being one, implementation being the other.
Yeah.
And I suppose, not jumping from one topic to another, but the recent tragedy over in Killaloo
Yes,
with
I
regards to
know.
the jet skis, I think it has to be looked at seriously now,
Mm-hmm,
because there is an element that, are using jet skis that I certainly wouldn't feel very safe in, let's say, from a point of view of the age category. In other countries, they have jet ski zones. They have policing on the water. You won't have something like that go untagged in the likes of, Lake Michigan, or in the States, or the big lake outside London. What's it called? Lake Windermere. You have serious, oversight in relation to water sports.
Right.
Because not just the jet ski, that's just one particular, water vessel,
Yes.
so to speak. But it is like driving a car on a road. And secondly, there should be on the spot, alcohol testing, drug testing on the water. Because now our environment has completely changed.
I'm going to bring Clare in there now. Clare, have you something that Tom you'd like to comment on what Tom said? Clare?
Well, I suppose to start by, our sympathies to their family. It was a tragedy,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
really,
tragic.
really a very sad time for any family. I fully agree with you. I think that everyone's safety is terribly important, but we have to start with making sure that everyone has life jackets. Everyone on their boats have life jackets, and from a water safety point of view, if those steps themselves, the Waterways Ireland have their own agendas or their own rules and stuff in terms of the waterway, and I can't really comment on those. There's navigation laws and everything else like that I wouldn't be familiar with, as familiar with to speak on the radio. But I think from the legislation, everyone should have a life jacket, and that in itself, if we got that across to everyone, that you do not take your children out, you do not go out unless you're fully properly equipped with a proper life jacket, not just a little bouncy aid that you bought in Decathlon, a proper life jacket, then everyone boating would be safer by far.
I suppose it's a dream to say that every water spot would have a lifeguard.
I don't think no more than Tom was saying. I don't think you're never going to win that. But I do think that it's not that every spot would have a lifeguard. I don't think that's what you meant. But you meant activities more so in organised activities. But in terms of parents and what they need to do when they're taking and families going boating, and your teenagers especially, wear your life jacket. It's going to save your life. That's it's the very bottom line in all of this. Is the lifeguard, the life jacket will save a life.
Plus, I mean, the other thing is you're seeing a culture emerge that doesn't have self-responsibility. It's the blame culture of, it's someone else's responsibility to do that. It's someone else's responsibility to have a life buoy hanging up in the most remotest areas. That it's always somebody else. If a life buoy is found in the lake, that you can't just put it up again.
Oh, you can.
You can.
Oh, yeah. If a life buoy is found in a lake, they say the ones in County Clare will have Clare County Council on them. And I would ask people to either bring them back to the original spot or to bring them to me. And because somebody else might have deployed a new one in its place anyway. Well, I suppose I run into it around Ennis a good bit, where we mentioned it earlier after the pub. People think it's great fun to throw them in the river. We have somebody go and collect them on a weekly or a monthly basis, but they have redeployed the new one in its place anyway. So very often somebody arrives to the council with 3 or 4 ring buoys. They leave them at the desk for me, and I will fix them up and use them out again. And obviously they all have to be checked, and the rope has to be checked. And once they're checked as being in good working order, of course, we put them back out. Yeah,
but that's brilliant because
cheapers, they're 50 or 60 euro each.
Yeah, but
this is a wonderful discussion, but I have to close it now. But listen. The message to go out from here is prepare yourself for going into the water.
Entirely.
Take every precaution you can before you go in, and make sure that if you need to be seen, that you are seen, and that you have some sort of a floating device to help you to get to safety.
And look for local advice, and know your area where you're going swimming, and try the safest place to swim is at a lifeguarded location.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in, Clare. Tom, we can continue this conversation with the RNLI if you like, but thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thanks
very much.
Thank you.